Hello, my name is Margaret Brown, and I am a registered occupational therapist with experience practicing in a variety of settings. I'm going to walk you through the new and updated guidance from the Minimum Data Set, MDS, 3.0 Resident Assessment Instrument, RAI, version 1.18.11 manual for Section Q, Participation in Assessment and Goal Setting. The objectives of today's presentation are to identify the new and revised assessment items in Section Q and to describe the intent, coding instructions, and definitions for identified Section Q items. In the MDS 3.0 RII version 1.18.11 manual, general revisions and updates were made to the Section Q items to enhance clarity. Section Q includes the following updated or revised items: Q0310, Residents' Overall Goal; Q0400, Discharge Plan; Q0490, Residents' Preference to Avoid Being Asked Question Q0500B. Note that for this item, the skip pattern has been updated to reflect the revised item number for Q0610, Referral. Other updated or revised items for this section are Q0500B, ask the resident or family or significant other or guardian or legally authorized representative only if resident is unable to understand or respond. Do you want to talk to someone about the possibility of leaving this facility and returning to live and receive services in the community? Q0550, residents' preference to avoid being asked question Q0500B. And Q0610, Referral. Section Q includes the following new items: Q0110, Participation in Assessment and Goal Setting; Q0500C, Indicate Information Source for Q0500B; and Q0620, Reason Referral to Local Contact Agency, LCA, not made. The items in Section Q are intended to record the participation of the resident, family members, or significant others in the assessment, and to understand the resident's overall goals. Interviewing the resident or designated individuals places the resident or their family at the center of decision-making. Section Q of the MDS uses a person-centered approach to discharge planning to ensure that all individuals have the opportunity to learn about home and community-based services and to receive long-term care in the least restrictive setting possible. This may not be a nursing home. We will discuss Q0110 through Q0620 in this presentation. We will start by examining Q0110. Participation in Assessment and Goal Setting. This is a new item. 3 separate sections of Q0100, Participation in Assessment, were removed and replaced with this new item. Q0110 is meant to record the participation of all those who participated in the assessment process. The coding instructions for Q0110 capture information on whether family, significant other, guardian, and/or a patient's legally authorized representative participated in the assessment process on the resident's behalf. For Q0110, check all that apply. Code A, resident, if the resident actively participated in the assessment process. Code B, family, if a member of the resident's family actively participated in the assessment process. Code C, significant other, if a significant other of the resident actively participated in the assessment process. Code D, legal guardian, if a legal guardian actively participated in the assessment process. Code E, other legally authorized representative, if a legally authorized representative actively participated in the assessment process. Code Z, none of the above, if none of the above actively participated in the assessment process. We will move on to Q0310, Residents' Overall Goal. This item has been renumbered and renamed due to its new structure. The name of this item has changed from residents' overall expectation to residents' overall goal. The response codes for family and significant other, guardian, or legally authorized representative have been separated to form 4 separate response codes. Q0310 identifies the residents' general expectations and goals for their nursing home stay. Additional detail has been added to the rationale for this item. The residents' goals should be the basis for care planning. Unless the residents' goals for care are understood, their needs, goals, and priorities are not likely to be met. Great progress has been made in this area. This progress resulted from the 1999 U.S. Supreme Court decision in Olmstead versus LC, which states that residents needing long-term services and supports have a civil right to receive services in the least restrictive and most integrated setting appropriate to their needs. The coding instructions for Q0310A, residents' overall goal for discharge established during the assessment process, have not been changed. The response to this item should be individualized and resident-driven, rather than what the nursing home staff judge to be in the best interest of the resident. Code 1, discharge to the community, may include newly admitted residents with a facility arranged discharge plan, or those residents with adequate supports already in place that would not require referral to a local contact agency, LCA. Remember, complete this item only if A0310E equals 1. Yes. The definition of a local contact agency, or LCA, is new to Q0310A. Each state has community contact agencies that can provide individuals with information about community living options and available community-based supports and services. These local contact agencies may be a single entry point agency, an aging and disability resource center, an area agency on aging, a center for independent living, or other state designated entities. For Q0310B, indicate information source for Q0310A, 2 new coding options have been added. Code 1, resident, if the resident is the source for completing this item. Code 2, family, if a family member is the source for completing this item because the resident is unable to respond. Code 3, significant other, if a significant other of the resident is the source for completing this item because the resident is unable to respond. Code 4, legal guardian, if a legal guardian of the resident is the source for completing this item because the resident is unable to respond. Code 5, other legally authorized representative, if a legally authorized representative of the resident is the source for completing this item because the resident is unable to respond. Code 9, none of the above, if the resident cannot respond and the family or significant other or guardian or legally authorized representative does not exist or cannot be contacted or is unable to respond. Q0310A equals 9. Now let's discuss Q0400, discharge plan. Note the change in skip pattern, which reflects the revised item number for Q0610, referral. It's important to clearly define active discharge planning in order to understand this section. The definition of active discharge planning is new to Q0400. An active discharge plan means a plan that is being currently implemented. In other words, the resident's care plan has current goals to make specific arrangements for discharge, staff are taking active steps to accomplish discharge, and there is a target discharge date for the near future. If there is not an active discharge plan, residents should be asked if they want to talk to someone about community living, Q0500B, and then referred to the LCA accordingly. Furthermore, referrals to the LCA are recommended as part of many residents' discharge plans. Such referrals are a helpful source of information for residents and facilities in informing the discharge planning process. For additional information, see CMS's Your Discharge Planning Checklist, available at the link in the slides. Let's move on to Q0490. Residents' preference to avoid being asked question Q0500B. This item language has been slightly enhanced. Additionally, the skip pattern has been updated to reflect the revised item number for Q0610, Referral. As a reminder, this item directs a check of the resident's clinical record to determine if the resident and/or family, etc., have indicated on a previous OBRA comprehensive assessment, A0310A equals 01, 03, 04, or 05, that they do not want to be asked question Q0500B until their next comprehensive assessment. Some residents and their families do not want to be asked about their preference for returning to the community and would rather not be asked about it. Item Q0490 allows them to opt out of being asked question Q0500B on quarterly, non-comprehensive assessments. The intent of this question is to ensure residents or their significant other, legally authorized individual, etc., aren't asked Q0500B more often than on comprehensive assessments if this desire has been expressed. The question must, however, be asked at a minimum on all comprehensive assessments. The decision regarding frequency of administration of Q0500B should be that of the resident or their significant other, legally authorized individual, etc., if the resident is unable to respond, and not that of the facility or MDS administrator. Next, we'll take a look at Q0500, Return to Community. For this item, Q0500B was revised, and Q0500C was added. Minor changes have been made to the wording of the item rationale, steps for assessment, and coding tips to increase clarity. Additionally, Q0500C, indicate information source for Q0500B, has been added to supplement existing item Q0500B. Ask the resident or family or significant other or guardian or legally authorized representative, only if resident is unable to understand or respond, do you want to talk to someone about the possibility of leaving this facility and returning to live and receive services in the community? The response codes for Q0500C, which identify the information source, are the same as Q0310B. Now we will examine the changes to Q0550, residents' preference to avoid being asked question Q0500B. Note the updated response options for Q0550C. For Q0550A, does the resident or family or significant other or guardian or legally authorized representative, only if resident is unable to understand or respond, want to be asked about returning to the community on all assessments rather than on comprehensive assessments alone? Minor changes have been made to the wording of this item to increase clarity. Q0550C, indicate information source for Q0550A, features updated response options, which are the same options as for Q0500C and Q0310B. Let's move on to Q0610, Referral. This item has been renumbered. Some language was removed after the question, and the response options are different. While there used to be 3 response options with additional language regarding the status of the referral, there are now just 2 options. The coding instructions have been revised for Q0610A. Has a referral been made to the local contact agency, LCA? Code 0, no, if a referral has not been made. Code 1, yes, if a referral has been made. If a referral has been made, skip to V0100, items from the most recent prior OBRA or scheduled PPS assessment. Note that previously, code 1 was no, referral is or may be needed. Finally, we'll take a look at Q0620, reason referral to local contact agency, LCA, not made. This is a new item. This item should be completed only if Q0610 referral equals 0, no. Let's examine the rationale for this item. Understanding the reason that referrals to the LCA were not made can help the care team support the resident to receive care that supports them to achieve their highest practicable level of functioning in the least restrictive setting. Understanding the reason that referrals to the LCA were not made allows for comprehensive care planning by the facility team in conjunction with the resident and their family. The steps for assessment for Q0620, reason referral to local contact agency, LCA, not made, are as follows. If Q0610 referral equals 0, no, indicate the primary reason that the referral has not been made to the LCA. Note that the assessor should indicate the primary reason that the referral has not been made to the LCA. For Q0620, these are the coding instructions. Code 1, LCA unknown. Code 2, referral previously made. If a referral has previously been made to the LCA, which is currently working with the resident and facility staff on an active discharge plan to return to the community. Code 3, referral not wanted. If the resident or family, significant other, legal guardian, or other legally authorized representative, only if the resident doesn't understand or is unable to responded that they do not want a referral. Q0500B equals 0. Code 4, discharge date 3 or fewer months away. If the resident has an expected discharge date of 3 months or fewer, has an active discharge plan in progress, and the discharge plan could not be improved upon with a referral to the LCA. Code 5, discharge date more than 3 months away. If the resident has an expected discharge date of more than 3 months, and the discharge plan is actively in progress. Consider this example for item Q0620. Resident J is unable to communicate verbally due to severe dementia. Their spouse met with the care team, and the spouse and care team agree that long-term nursing home placement on the secure dementia unit is appropriate for resident J. The spouse declined a referral to the LCA. In this case, Q0620 would be coded 3, referral not wanted. Resident J is unable to communicate verbally due to severe dementia. Their spouse declined a referral to the LCA as they and the care team agree that long-term placement on the secure dementia unit is appropriate for resident J. As in the example just described, there may be instances in which the resident is unable to communicate their preference. For certain Section Q items, information can be obtained from the family, significant other, guardian, or legally authorized representative if the resident is unable to communicate their preference. In all instances that someone other than the resident is a respondent, it should be noted that this is because the resident is unable to respond. Let's review the changes that have occurred within Section Q. The Section Q intent has been updated. Additionally, revisions/updates have been made to the Q0310 rationale and coding instructions, the language of Q0400, the Q0490 skip pattern, the coding tips in Q0500, the response options for Q0550C, and the coding instructions for Q0610. New definitions have been added in Q0310A and Q0400. The following new items have been added to this section: Q0110, participation in assessment and goal setting. Q0500C, indicate information source for Q0500B. And Q0620, reason referral to local contact agency, LCA, not made. Section Q, participation in assessment and goal setting, places the resident and their family at the center of decision-making. Some items in this section were updated and revised to include additional response options that identify who is participating in the decision-making, resident goals, and other details around discharge planning. There are also 3 new items, Q0110, Q0500C, and Q0620. Throughout Section Q, the guidance was revised for clarity. Thank you for reviewing this presentation. If you have questions about the presentation, please submit them to pactraining@econometricainc.com by June 2nd, 2023. Select questions will be answered in Q&A sessions offered during the June 2023 virtual live event.